Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the Holy Smokes Barbecue channel, and on this incredible weekend day, we are making one of the most quintessential dishes in all of the world of barbecue. Some people call it meat candy, but throughout the barbecue world, it is widely known as burnt ends. Now, typically, burnt ends are gonna come from the point section of a full brisket, but brisket is really expensive right now. So I'm going to show you how to do a poor man's version for a lot less money using a chuck roast. It's going to be a very simple recipe today, so let's get started. All right, friends, here we go. This is our chuck roast, and now this roast, like all the meat from my channel, all of the beef, pork, chicken, it all comes from Strip District Meats, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. They are the absolute best butcher around, and if you go to stripdistrictmeats.com, you can actually order anything from their menu and they'll ship it to you nationwide. Now, as you can see on this chuck roast, there's not a ton of fat. There's no fat cap on this. This comes from a different part of the animal. So I'm not really gonna do any trimming today. There's not any kind of loose chunks of fat or anything like that. So I'm gonna basically be smoking this as is with respect to the fat. And when it comes to burnt ends, you kind of want some fat. So the first thing we're gonna do is apply a binder, and for my binder today, I'm using just some yellow mustard. And this is just to keep that seasoning adhered. Now typically in barbecue, when we apply a binder, we're not doing it so that we get some sort of extra flavor, although sometimes, depending on what you use, you'll get a little bit of that. We're actually doing it so that that seasoning adheres, and so that we get a really nice color. That being said, for binders, you could use just about anything. You could use Worcestershire sauce, you could use mustard like I'm using, you could even use water. All you're really doing is moistening up that surface so that the seasoning adheres nicely. And speaking of seasoning, today I've got two seasonings that I'm gonna use. Both of these are Pit Boss rubs, which I absolutely love. The first is the all-purpose GSP rub. Okay, so this is just salt, pepper, garlic, and Pit Boss has just combined it in the one easy-to-use rub. Now, with anything that's gonna be going a long time, you don't have to worry really about over-seasoning. For this base layer, again, we're just going with the salt, pepper, garlic, and I'm not gonna actually go crazy with it because we're really gonna pile it on with our second rub today, which is the Pit Boss Lone Star Beef and Brisket Rub. We're gonna be cooking this thing like a brisket. Why not use a brisket rub? And this is an incredible rub. So there we go, right on the top. You could see that coarse black pepper that's in there. Just pat, don't rub. All right, now, I'm actually gonna remove this piece of paper, and we're gonna go to the other side. On with that GSP. And the reason I remove that paper is because the paper is already pretty saturated with mustard, and I don't want it interfering with that beautiful seasoning that we've already put on that other side. Some of that Lone Star Beef and Brisket rub. Oh. And now let's get these sides for sure. This is one of those scenarios where it's very important to get the sides, because the sides are going to be just as important as the rest of the meat because of how we're going to eventually cut this into cubes and eat it. Oh man, just the smell that's developing out here. Oh man, does that smell good. Okay, there we have it. Fully seasoned, fully incredible looking. So now we're going to let this sit for, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes, just long enough for that salt that's in the rub to start to react with the fat and develop a little bit of moisture going into this cook. And while we do that, let's talk about how we're gonna cook it. Today, this chuck roast is going right here on my Pit Boss Platinum Series Lockhart. It's gonna be smoking in the main chamber today at a temperature of 275 degrees. And we're gonna be making this like a brisket. So if you know anything about that, we're gonna be cooking it up to about 165 degrees, which is where it'll typically reach that stall, where it's gonna struggle to kind of get above that. At that point, we might wrap it, we might not. I don't know exactly what we're gonna do yet. And because I really want that genuine, authentic, really heavy, almost like Texas style smoke flavor, I'm going with the Pit Boss Mesquite Blend pellets. These pellets are going to be some of the more woodsy, really strong, intense wood flavor that you can get out of a wood pellet, and so that's why I'm using it today on this chuck roast. Now, since this chuck roast is significantly smaller than your typical brisket, it's only like 3.5 pounds, it's not going to take quite as long, or really nearly as long to smoke as, say, a brisket would. And at 275 degrees, I'm going to estimate about an hour per pound. So 3.5 pounds, maybe 3.5 hours. But again, we'll pay attention to it and see how it's going along the way. I'm looking for a finished internal temperature today of 201 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's been about 10 minutes on this chuck roast. Let's go ahead and throw it in the smoker. All right, 275. Oh, beautiful. Smells incredible. Right on. Use one of the temperature probes that came with the Lockhart so that I can monitor that temperature using my Smoke IT app. And now we close it up, and I'll see you in a couple hours. All right, it's been about 2.5 hours, and here's the chuck roast. Now the internal temp right now is reading about 170 degrees in the thickest part of the meat, so now it's time to wrap it up. So you could use butcher paper. I'm gonna use foil. Typically I would use butcher paper, but we're kind of going with this theme of things that are just like easy to find, and you know, you're on a budget, whatever. Everybody's got some foil laying around. So that's how we're gonna wrap it. So we're gonna make sure that we wrap it nice and tightly, okay? Because we don't want any of this deliciousness to seep out. And I'm gonna put another piece of foil over here again, just to ensure a nice tight wrap. All right, there we go. Now this is gonna go back onto the smoker until that internal temp reaches about 201 degrees. Then we'll pull it out and I'll show you what we're gonna do next. All right, it's been about another hour, and I got the notification that we are up to temperature 201 degrees. So now very carefully, I'm gonna go ahead and start to unwrap this. And I'm gonna unwrap it so that it can kind of rest a little bit in the open air. Okay, get ready for this. Whew. Look at that juice, ladies and gentlemen. Just look at it. Now you'll notice I don't have like a hard, crunchy bark on there, and that's totally fine. Because what's gonna happen next is after this rests for, I don't know, 10 to 15 minutes, we're gonna come out and slice it into cubes, and then it's gonna go back in the smoker uncovered with some sauce and other delicious things, and that's gonna start to really create that texture of the burnt end that we're looking for. All right, we've rested for about 10 minutes. There's our roast. And now using my Pit Boss Pro Series brisket knife, we're just gonna go ahead and chop this up into cubes. So we're gonna go right into here. Oh, super tender. Look at that. You can see we've got the makings of a smoke ring here. Now because my grain is actually running this direction, I'm gonna cut that direction. It's not as big of a deal on something like this because it is gonna be drowned in sauce and everything, but you know, we wanna follow the rules, I guess. We're gonna go about that large on our cubes. Now the pieces that are pretty much purely fat, I am going to just kind of get rid of those, mainly because I don't like to just chew into straight fat, but I mean, some people like that, so if you want to keep them on, you go ahead. They are your burnt ends. All right, there we go. We've got that roast cubed up. So into my foil pan go my cubes, and now to this pan, I'm gonna add a few things. First, about 1.5 cups of barbecue sauce. And today I'm using my own homemade Holy Smokes barbecue sauce. You've seen me use it before. It is phenomenal. But you know, use what you want. Gonna just sort of mix that around. Give everybody some of that nice saucy love. Next, I'm adding some hot honey. How much? I don't know. However much you want. Once again, mix it around. And at this point, you could add some brown sugar to this to really get that extra sweetness, but I'm actually gonna add a spice that I found at a place called the Spice and Tea Exchange. Not sponsored by them, but just wanted to show you this. This is it's called the Cinnabar Smoke Spice Blend. It really has that kind of brown sugar smell to it, and it's gonna be great as an addition here. So I'm just gonna come through and get some of that in there. Oh, the smell. Woohoo! Mix it again. Getting everybody that nice, what did I say before? Like saucy love? This is that like cinnamony love. All right, and these are gonna go back in for about another hour, and that's gonna be at the same temperature, 275 degrees Fahrenheit. And I'm not really looking for any sort of internal now because I know that, I know that it's done. But I am looking for a little bit of bubbling in that sauce, and I wanna see some nice crust developing on some of these cubes. So these are going back in the smoker, and the next time you see them, oh, trust me, they are gonna look like meat candy. All right, it's been another hour. Let's take a look. Oh, man. Wow, those look amazing. Got that delicious looking char. You can see how that sauce is reduced in there. And it's just become one with the meat. And here we have our poor man's burnt ends. Woo! For just a little bit of added color, we'll throw some parsley on. Why not? And there you have it. Woo, look how good that looks. The color is gorgeous. The smell is intense. It's gonna be delicious. Oh man, I cannot wait to try these burnt ends. They look so good, they smell so good, and I can't wait. So here we go. No more talking, let's try it. This one right here. It's got my name on it. No, seriously, it says my name in sauce. And here we go. Poor man's burnt ends. Oh. Woo! Flavor! 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 Wow. 2 words. Well, 4 words. Holy smokes, meat candy. It's sweet. It's got a little bit of heat from the honey and the barbecue sauce. It's absolutely delicious. It's perfect. And listen, I'm not here to start a fight, but I want to tell you, I'd put these poor man's burnt ends up against some burnt ends made out of a brisket point. This would be a great idea for you to make for like a party and just to have as hors d'oeuvres. Just stick them all with toothpicks and just have them sitting on a plate. People can grab them. Or great to just make for yourself and sit on the couch, watch TV, and eat them. Which is probably what's going to happen to these. So hey, thank you once again for tuning in to the Holy Smokes Barbecue channel. If you like this video, make sure that you click the thumbs up to give us a like and subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed. That way you don't miss anything because we got some incredible stuff coming. And if you like beef, you got to check out one of these other 2 beef videos. Some stuff that we've made here outside on the channel, and it's absolutely incredible on the smoker. And I'll see you next time.